Today I'm in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, a city that seems so quintessentially American, middle America, that I decided to make a video about my impressions of the United States after living in another country for 7 years. And I think your impressions are relative to where you lived. I lived in Brazil. I still live in Brazil, actually, but I'm home visiting my family. My family's actually not from here, but they moved here. My mom got a job here. It's a long story. But basically, I'm trying to download the United States into my brain, observe every aspect of American culture and all the different aspects, because what is American culture? It's really a mix, or not even a mix, but a mosaic of many different cultures. And that's what I would like to do. I have this great curiosity for traveling and experiencing other cultures, but I feel like I've neglected my own culture. I've neglected the United States. I haven't been as curious or as interested in the aspects that make this country so interesting. And that's what I would like to do in the next couple of videos. But first of all, I'd like to kind of talk about what I think about the United States after living abroad. I think a lot of people have a negative opinion of the United States, both abroad and locally in the United States. Everyone has their reasons for that. I don't think I ever shared that opinion, but I certainly felt a little bored in the United States. I needed to expand my horizons. So I went to Brazil, beautiful country. I have a lot of videos in Brazil in English if you're curious about it. But the United States is so interesting. It's so diverse. I'm in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Such a typical town. Really beautiful, preserves its history. You got a lot of Civil War buildings. It's a university. There's university here, so it's a college town. Dickinson, actually where my mother works. Go Red Devils. But it's got a bunch of porches. Just peaceful place. And sometimes people from other countries, talking specifically about Europe and Latin America, might say that it's a little too quiet if you want some action on the street. And it's definitely pretty relaxed here. There's not too much going on. You can hear crickets chirping, literally. But if you want peace, here it is. A little slice of Americana. The United States is just so different because I've been here for 10 days now, and I arrived in Miami. It's hard to describe Miami in a few sentences, and I've only been there a few times. It's definitely a city that I'm still trying to figure out. Not a city that I can say that I love. Beautiful beaches, especially South Beach. Nice Art Deco architecture. I like the Latino culture there too. Little Havana. I've been to Hialeah. Seen some places. I like it, but there's something still a little off about Miami that I can't figure out. But I'll go some more times to try to get to the bottom of what Miami culture is all about. Maybe if you're from there or if you live there, you could try to describe it in the comment section. But I just had a layover there. Then I went home to New Jersey, which is the place I guess I feel the most at home, because it's really the only place I've ever lived outside of Brazil. 4 years at University of Maryland. But it's just a very diverse place. A lot of different cultures, a lot of different languages. My neighborhood is pretty Latino, but then you go down to Hoboken, it used to be old school Italian. You know, On the Waterfront was filmed there. That's what Hoboken used to be. Now it's extremely gentrified. You still have your old school Hoboken people, but it's definitely gentrified. And then Jersey City is right there too. I live literally on the intersection of those three cities, and Jersey City's the second biggest city in New Jersey. Huge, not huge actually. I just saw an Amish guy walk past. That's crazy. Seeing an Amish guy walk past in the city. I mean, I don't know if he's Amish, but he's dressed in one of those hats. So that might be my ignorance, but I'm going with Amish. These alleys are kind of cool here. I'm not sure if these are streets or alleys. I'm not sure what makes something a street versus what makes something an alley, but it certainly feels like an alley. I love all these old buildings here. They really have some nice old buildings. There's my Amish guy over there. Can you see him? He could be Amish, or that's just his style. But pretty quiet on the streets. Pretty quiet on the streets. Union City is not like that. Union City is full of life. People outside playing dominoes, blasting bachata, merengue, reggaeton at all hours. Maybe drinking a Brugal or a Presidente. So that's my kind of little corner of the United States. But then I went to the Jersey Shore. Jersey Shore has a reputation of being a little trashy, a little seedy. And if you go to Seaside, if you go on the boardwalk you go to the boardwalk and Seaside, you know, it is a little bit like that. People, young kids getting drunk. Certainly not a place I would like to be right now. But the Jersey Shore also has some of the most beautiful towns in the United States. Maybe not beaches, because I think the beaches are nicer in like Florida or California. Beaches are kind of bland in New Jersey at least. But the towns are really nice. There's some beautiful towns, charming towns. Some of the richest towns and richest counties in the United States are in New Jersey. Oprah lives there. Then I went to Hagerstown, where my grandparents live. They actually live in like Smithburg, rural Hagerstown. Not even Hagerstown, it's another city outside of Hagerstown, which is a completely different slice of the United States, which is what I find so interesting. In just 10 days, I've gone Miami, Hudson County, New Jersey, New York, Jersey Shore, Bradley Beach, pretty nice town, right next to Asbury. Hagerstown, which is kind of a post-industrial town, used to be big, a big rail junction, used to make a lot of things. Now it looks pretty run down, I would have to say. They have a new baseball stadium, which looks pretty nice. I think they're called the Boxcars. I'd like to check them out. So that should be interesting. But I'll make some videos in Hagerstown, as it's kind of one of the places I grew up. I spent my summers there as a kid. And it's in Appalachia. It's an interesting place. It's full of characters and culture, and I would love to make some videos there. And now I'm in Carlisle, which has a few aspects of Hagerstown, but as there's a university here, it's definitely much better, definitely better maintained. The houses, you can see a lot of beautiful houses. And you have your students, you have your professors, so you have your kind of hipsterish coffee shops, a little bit of gentrification that I didn't see in Hagerstown. So what I've noticed in the United States is that there are a lot of winners and losers when it comes to cities. Cities that are doing well, people are moving in, spending money, moving, U-Haul, always a good sign, right? Well, unless it's people leaving, but I could be wrong, but this house looks like it was built in 1761. See, it's got a colonial architecture. I'll give you some streetscape so you can see what the street looks like. But, you know, not all college towns are doing well. I don't think everyone wants to go to college anymore. But Dickinson College, great school, especially if you're in athletics, as my mom is the athletic director, so check it out. But that looks like that might be a Civil War building. Usually they have signs to say when it's a Civil War building. I love the porches. But yeah, the United States, it all depends. You know, I think Kevin Durant put it best. There's a lot of BS going on here. There's also a lot of great stuff going on here. He's a poet, philosopher, modern day philosopher. Got a little Halloween already. Steelers fan. It's interesting here too that in South Central Pennsylvania, you could be a Steelers fan, an Eagles fan, a few Ravens fans actually. Oh yeah, I'm a Ravens fan, full disclosure, even though I'm from New Jersey. I was also in Baltimore. Camden Yards is beautiful, but definitely there's a reason The Wire takes place in Baltimore. So there's definitely some problems in Baltimore, but I think the Camden Yards is beautiful. Inner Harbor's beautiful. Federal Hill there's some nice neighborhoods in Baltimore, but it's definitely seen better days. Some cities have been hit worse by the post-industrial economy. A lot of these cities were a place where you got a high school education and were willing to work, you get a job, raise a family. I think that's harder now. It's still possible, and there's definitely areas. I've been watching a bunch of videos as I'm doing my research about the United States. There's a bunch of areas where there are high-paying jobs, blue-collar jobs, steel mills in Western Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Ohio, and they have trouble finding employees. It's hard work. But also I think a lot of people went to college and they want to get white-collar jobs instead of working in the coal mines and the mills, which I understand to a certain point, but a lot of times these blue-collar jobs are better paying than entry-level office jobs. It's hard to describe the United States in any specific way because it's so big. It needs to be broken down. One book that I really like and I think is a great lens into the United States is The Nations of the United States. It basically talks about 11 nations of the United States and different immigrant groups and settlers that kind of created the culture for those parts. Places like New England, which they call Yankeedom, New Netherlands. Really, Yankeedom should be New Netherlands because that's where Yankees come from. Not just the baseball team, but I think Yankees comes from a Dutch name, Jan Kees. Whatever, that's another etymological story we won't delve into right now because this video is already getting kind of long. But I also think it's important to break American culture into urban culture, like cities, living in cities, and even within cities you have different neighborhoods, different type of neighborhoods. You have suburban culture and you have rural culture. I've experienced, and beach culture and mountain culture, which all have their distinct flavors. And I've experienced all of those in the 10 days I've been here. And I've only been on the East Coast. Well, I guess Pennsylvania it's landlocked. Am I still on the East? I guess I'm almost in the Midwest. I'm the gateway to the Midwest. But yeah, imagine going to the West Coast, Texas, Great Plains. I need to visit all these places. It's a beautiful world out there. I know I've been waxing poetically. I feel very philosophical here in the United States. It's one thing to analyze a new country and talk about its culture as if you were discovering it for the first time, but it's a surreal experience to do that for your own culture, for your own country. And that's what I'm trying to do here in the United States. And I feel very blessed and lucky to have been born in the United States. This place really is the land of opportunity. It's not an easy place to live, but when you travel around the world, you realize there are no easy places to live. Every place has its pros and its cons, and I think the United States has a lot of pros, a lot of opportunities, a lot of beauty, a lot of culture. I think people generally think, oh, the United States doesn't have a lot of culture. They don't have any cuisine because people think pop culture, fast food, but there's so much more, and that's what I would like to explore in this channel. Hope you liked the video. I'll see you next time. Peace.